Alright, so I am here. We are up on the southern mound. He's the trail parking lot over there. Sugar house right there. Dog, I promised him not to film him as he's urinating. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to post the YouTube link of some more videos, and appreciate everybody giving me some positive feedback, and also enjoying what they're seeing and telling me about what they're seeing, and that's cool. I don't want to necessarily pretend to have any answers beyond my own hypotheses, and I share what I share. And the more I learn from not just our consultants and hopefully a team of experts soon, that I think we can try to put that together pretty rapidly, considering the levels that we're finding here in the stoneworks, the masonry, evidence at a scientific level. Cars coming, so dog's peeing as well. I'm just gonna hit a pause. Whoop! Stop! Sit! Stay. Stay. Alright, so I just did well. And long story short, come, let's go. Is that so yeah, I mean, basically we've had a business plan for a very long time, and I did all sorts of permitting with towns, the town of Waterbury and the state of Vermont, and we have this curb cut here, which is a little dirty right now, needs some repair, and this was the target of an attack. I would say arguably had a lot of religious intolerance in the mix, but it was also, one of these things where we're all trying to move things forward, and sometimes if you're too honest with somebody and you share too many details, they're going to try to take advantage of that. So basically that is what led to the arson here, and an attempt of somebody trying to burn my house and our parsonage down. So that trial has not come to pass yet, and there was probably a plea bargain to do as it relates to politics. And at this point, I honestly don't give a fuck. I just want to move things forward, because we have amazing, beautiful things ahead, including this line, which allows us to create a whole bunch of solar as part of our archaeology efforts. We are going to be using those panels to collect the rainwater, and from that we will be able to repurpose it twice. Once for the use of archaeological cleaning. So for instance, this stone here I unearthed while digging some stumps, and if you study it close enough, there's evidence of dog, stop pulling, thank you, enough components that I just want to wash it down and get a lot more data around it. But the size of it, the shape of it, and all of the other stones around here match, and the sizes of all the other ones basically match all the other locations that I've dug at in a consistent pattern. So those kinds of pieces of statistical evidence are what I'm referencing when I talk about the science matching up to what my faith fundamentally, as an ordained reverend in this kingship that I believe speaks to me, but probably speaks to many people. And deep down in the spirit, if we're all just like saying, what is this thing called life about? It's got to be more than what they're presenting to me. And by they, I mean everything, us, all of us, culture, the media, the idea of the illusion of a market, right? So I guess we're in a space where what we are finding that's real, that's factual, and that I know from 3 decades of living, is that these stoneworks, the massiveness of which I could get into. Dog, come! But right now, I don't want to get off on the northern mound too much. Go, ha. Ha. Good. Basically, the dolmen is out this way, and then the summer solstice sunrise is out that way. The summer solstice sunsets out that way. This is, come, again, more huge rocks, huge boulders, massive levels of stoneworks that, come, just things that we're working on. So it takes a lot of effort, and I guess I just thought I would record this because I had found, not found, but I had a video previously. This was our former staff trailer, and farmhands, folks that have been good friends for a long time, and unfortunately a lot of this put a lot of drama in the mix, and so there's an arsonist that took it out. But on this front here, we have a set of stoneworks that dog, come, he just wants to go every which way, and sometimes that's really good. But again, a lot of these pieces all replicate in size, in patterns, shapes, and this is on a parabola. So the largest of which, dog wants to go check it out over here, is this one here. Go, Chi. Let's see if we can do it that way. I'm going to go up this way, dog. And just for scale, we got dog up there, Mr. Ace. And so let's go down. We'll keep going this way, and hopefully it doesn't pull me off the edge as we get back on the trail. Go, ha! 1 second here. Okay, slow down. So then back here, you can see that's that large rock there. And it trails to like another large stone right here. And this is, from this point forward, is where I definitely want to tie in the archaeology dig with our permitted build envelope for our farm structures. So those are all the pieces that are kind of connecting, because we can offer the essentially return on investment on the financing component of this. We're able to move that forward, but it's also creating a little bit of a tech invention with infrastructure that I think is going to be significantly revolutionary, not just for our archaeology work, but also for pretty much many environments. And I think it's, for me, I guess we'll cross. For me, it has much more to do with the, go Jeet! Jeet! So there's the stream crossing. So hold up a second, Doug. So basically, this stream crossing, because the Agency of Natural Resources for any farm says you have to account for a setback of 50 feet from it, that means 50 feet in that direction and 50 feet in that direction are off limits from the farm plan. So what we're permitted for is on the other side of that, and that's part of what we just submit with the Agency of Agriculture, and that's been a process, but it's been long-standing now. But this area here would be, ideal for the location, effectively, of cribbing for a trestle. And then I'd like to put another one on the other side of that stream to bring us across it effectively to float the structure, not just on our 270 feet lengthwise, but also then to be getting a permit application extension to make it 1,000 feet. We'll bring the width of it down, I believe it's to 180 from 210. But reasons for doing it, here, Doug, come this way. Reasons for doing that, and I suppose proposing that through a video if we end up getting there, is to effectively keep towards a compliance framework that, while asking for a waiver in one way of managing how we think about things, it also recognizes the impact of concrete. And if we're only thinking about concrete from the vantage point of its impact versus, say, rails that don't impact stuff, it does a lot more for wetlands management, in my humble opinion. And despite the fact that a lot of this wetlands here isn't necessarily, quote, native, I think I can prove water engineering and land engineering relative to the archaeology that I would hope isn't combative, but more intellectually engaging for those that believe in science. And I do, and I'm willing to put my own permit and applications of farming on hold, as I did for a while. Dog, slow down, come. And for the purpose that we get this right. And so now, I think it makes a lot of sense from the archaeology perspective. If we have a 270-foot window, we reduce the width of it, bring it out 1,000 feet. If in any way this ancient observatory has a view shed that's being blocked by that structure that then becomes a lower dimensional structure, or at least partially the part that rotates across this 1,000-foot tract, would allow us to do archaeology below first before converting that space into the Wallapini greenhouse, effectively allowing us to build towards our farming permit more successfully, but also acknowledging the 50-foot setbacks from the resource crossing of this water, the surface water. We would want to look at it from an archaeology perspective, but then constitute it, if you will, or leave it in its more primitive state, more wild state, in the sense of if it's found not to be archaeologically significant. And there's a few spots where I know there actually are a number of big rocks that are carved that match all the other locations, but it's not everywhere. So I think we'd be able to establish what parts exactly have the archaeology in it, and then work backwards from there, knowing that 50-foot buffer from either side of that surface water is effectively what we're working towards as everybody's primary goal. Further understanding not just the downstream or wetlands, quote, impact, but the upstream impacts onto here. I think there's a lot of LiDAR analysis that the archaeology parts are going to be uncovering that I think have very much a look at cisterns and the displacement of water streams and bodies that had pathways exactly for the reason of pushing water in one direction more so than the other. And I think when you're thinking about developments, the way we cut into those cistern bases will absolutely downflow change stuff. Whether other people are conscious of it or not is irrelevant to me as somebody that just wants to restore the clockworks here, but needs that water base. So if we can't get it from proving our point, not to be proving a point, but rather to say, here's the thesis, and here's how we defend the thesis with actual science, like as we can with the LiDAR, and those analyses of water interruptions via excavations and, say, plans of submitted DRB proposals and things that have happened to date. Those are all things that data can churn easily. I'm not looking to be political or do that per se, but to know how it impacts us, and then to be able to just drill a well, which we already have paid for, partially paid for, gets me to a place where, okay, we could still restore the clockworks and understand how does the water actually function. But if it's then met with red tape and just so, you got to do it exactly so with paperwork, it's like, shut the fuck up. Because you want experts to be able to say, okay, this is really important. We understand the magnitude and the gravitas of it. Let's find a way to get this done effectively. So now I ran some videos earlier today from this point forward. So, basically, I guess I'll just take the fast path from the outside here as I'm stepping over stones. A lot of cleanup work to do. This has been great. But stop, hold up. But right now we've got this spot where right in along that whole line there, that's all gotta get excavated. It's all massive stonework. Good. And so up in there, that's all got stonework under it, massive boulders. All the way up through here, massive boulders. Just all continuous, like a 20, 30 foot wide path coming right through here. You can see these here. I've done a few videos on those before. And come up this way, Good. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, I guess we'll come up this way. So, and then, hold up, dog. Let's see. Yeah, right there. And just all of that stonework. As we come across here, it's hard to see, but right in the ground. And when you thump on it, it's just right under this big ass maple. So we're gonna probably take that down, and in the process, we'll be able to expose the rock work. But you know, this is kind of the continuation of that same mound. And I guess I just maybe wrap it up by going up here. See which way my dog gets us. Go! All right, Jeet. Good. All the way up. There you go. Pull. All right, I don't really think it's going to be recommended that we have dogs on the stoneworks. Okay, so kind of saw like a crane. I don't know, some kind of like maybe like the head of a bird, maybe a turtle. There's a few different things that, like, when I look at these rocks, I'm like, I could definitely see different references. The things that are more interesting to me are the cuts. And then, you know, this is like very consistent with some of the things you would see at Machu Picchu. You know, these are built into the actual rock work, these nubs, but they have a function with like angles, and I think held massive rocks in them and stuff. These are, you know, there's definitely carvings where it uses the inverse technique. Anyway, not to get too deep on this, I've done this one already, but Ace, come. We're gonna go to the top of this, and let me see if I can get him around me. Go. Good dog. Let's see if we can just see him back. All right. So there's that. And then that kind of comes up on this head here. And I think in the past, you know, I did do sort of a dive through here. This used to be the old road. Then there's like this. Come this way, dog. Good boy. Slope. Stop. So then there's like this whole space in here that a lot of it was excavated from his space. But then there's all these big stones down here. So, you know, whether they were dolmens here and just sat there, or whether they were up here and maybe like excavated once upon a time. Oops, I'm all backwards. You know, and then they ended up getting down there. I don't know, but there are definitely under his space more stones. And then I guess the really big ones get into the original roundabout here at the cabin. So it's coming up on 20 minutes of a video, so I guess I'm gonna just close it out here. But basically, these are these massive boulders that are just kind of retaining this apple tree, maple tree rather. And you can see this one too is pretty massive. And then there's the one at the head of the driveway. And then I'm unearthing some here on this side of the dig. Yeah, But that really is the entirety of this 1,400 foot matching, UNESCO World Heritage mound. I think of the Hopewell, Ohio site. I think maybe Poverty Point, Louisiana as well. I'm not exactly sure, but that 1,400 foot long effigy is a significant piece. And I think what we're finding is really, it's a lot going on. So, I'm looking at it saying, we have the opportunity now with solar to effectively generate our revenue on our return monthly from what we're permitted to do, which is that 0.5 megawatt. But I think on a bigger scale, as a recording studio, I want to be able to model the opportunity to use the archaeology so that we have the ability to scale out that component where maybe there's a product for this work at a $35 level, a $50 level, a $300 level. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to make it all non-profity and capitalist, but I think there's something there as far as, if someone could, just let me know, hey, I'm interested, I would totally pay $35 for that product. Fill in the blank, right? Like a CD in my old world view of DVD-ROM days. But like whatever that release is that the studio puts out, I think that's the kind of thing that we would then be able to, in a new way of thinking, underwrite intellectual capital gains, effectively going into a business model that, oh gosh, I didn't realize I'm all like, I should have combed my mustache. Basically the whole reality is if we want to do this ourselves, all we need are each other to put money on the table. And then our financiers say, oh, that's money on the table for people that are really willing to come do that. And if there's enough people, that allows us to then capitalize it and pay people to do all the pieces. It's not like we're trying to empire. It's like we want to build something that's better for the sake of just understanding what the fuck was going on here. I mean, it's beautiful archaeology fodder, but if we're trying to prove it didn't happen in a cancel culture kind of way because, it represents some other way of thinking that maybe we don't want to be a part of because we're conditioned just so, you already know the answer before the question, I'm not for that. So, I think we're here. I'm going to let Ace back into his space. I would love to know if people would actually pay to see some video production, some webisodes. Those are the kinds of market data pieces I can bring back on a business modeling plan and get the finances lined up so that we actually know what we can do and what we can afford to pay for to move it all forward. So that's exciting to me in the sense that I can then hand it off to people to do it so that we could get back to the stuff that we do. We being Ace and I. So, Gretsch is not endorsing me. Of course, it's a dream. I was just like super stoked that Paul Cooper would literally post with one of my drums in it. He's a legend and a huge Gretsch fan. But I just want to be clear, there are no endorsements. And, we are going to try to do this so that we get... and I do have a great inventory of Gretsch drums, so if the recording studio is a thing where you're like, hey, let's come record an album here, that's just equally as awesome. So it would be off-grid, it would be completely something that's renewably fueled, and that's the goal that we're all working towards. So with that, I'm going to wish everybody peace from Ace of Space.